There's a moment, sharp, silent, and almost unbearable, when you realize fear has been quietly shaping your entire life. Not in dramatic ways, but in the tiny decisions you don't even notice anymore. The job you didn't apply for, the truth you didn't speak, the dream you shelved because someone told you it was too much, and you believed them, because fear has a way of disguising itself as logic, as safety, as adulthood. But let's stop lying to ourselves. Most of what we fear isn't real. It's a script running in our heads, written by past pain, powered by anxiety, and completely divorced from truth. The Stoics were ruthless in their clarity about this. If you are distressed by anything external, wrote Marcus Aurelius, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Read that again, because that's what we're here to do. Revoke fear's grip. We're not just talking about how to manage fear. We're going deeper. We're going after the roots, the false beliefs, the invisible chains, and by the end of this video, you won't just understand fear differently, you'll understand yourself differently. If that resonates with you, if you're tired of living small in a life that wants you to expand, there's a simple, free favor I'll ask. Hit that subscribe button. It tells me these words are reaching the right people. Now let's begin. Number 1. Accept that everything changes. Ever notice how the mind clings hardest right before something slips away? We want permanence in our careers, in our relationships, even in how we feel. We crave certainty like it's oxygen. But life doesn't operate on our schedule. It never did. Everything around you, your body, your circumstances, your sense of identity, is constantly evolving. The more you try to hold it still, the more it slips through your fingers. And that's what fear feeds on, the fantasy that things should stay the same. Change isn't the enemy. Our resistance to it is. We panic when things end. We mourn what used to be. We dread the unknown. But here's the paradox. The more you resist change, the more you suffer. Stoicism calls this resistance a form of self-torture. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly. Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Nature doesn't fear winter because it knows spring will come. Why should we be any different? Think about it. Every heartbreak you thought would break you forever didn't. Every awkward failure you were sure would define you faded. Every dark phase passed, whether you noticed or not. Pain doesn't last, neither does joy. That's not a flaw, it's freedom. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." The more you fight the fact that life changes, the more fear digs its heels in. But when you let go of needing things to last, when you stop trying to control every outcome, fear begins to lose its grip. You don't become indifferent, you become wise. You begin to trust your capacity to adapt rather than your need to predict. If you want proof, step outside. Watch the seasons shift. Look at how your skin sheds and renews without you doing a thing. Listen to how your thoughts change from morning to night. Everything moves, even your fears. They're not fixed structures. They come and go like weather. No need to build a shelter against them. Just stand firm and let them pass. The ancient Greeks understood this too. Heraclitus, the pre-Socratic philosopher, believed that no man ever steps in the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and he is not the same man. It's a reminder that even you, your habits, your mindset, your sense of self, are in flux. That's not a threat. That's an invitation to evolve. So the next time you're frozen by panic or wrapped up in anxiety, pause, take a breath, then take another. Your breath isn't the same breath, it's moving. So are you. The tightness in your chest, temporary. The thoughts racing through your head, not permanent. You are not trapped. You are in motion, and motion is where strength lives. Don't try to freeze the moment. Don't try to glue joy into place or barricade loss from your door. Instead, flow. Let life shift. Let the day end. Let the feeling pass. That's where your power is, not in the illusion of control, but in your ability to ride the wave and remain unshaken. Because if everything is always changing, then even the worst thing you're going through has an expiration date. Let that sink in. Number 2, fear is just a thought. Let's get real. Fear wears 100 disguises. Sometimes it sounds like, I'm not ready. Other times it's, what if I fail? Or, they'll laugh at me. But peel away the layers and you'll find something unexpected. Fear is just a thought, just a sentence in your mind dressed up like truth. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that the mind is not disturbed by events, but by its interpretation of them. It's not things that upset us, Epictetus said, but our judgments about things. Read that again, because that one truth can undo years of fear-driven living. We think fear is some kind of external monster creeping up behind us, but most of the time it's just our imagination playing horror movies we haven't bought tickets for. You're not being chased. You're anticipating being chased. Big difference. What if the worst happens? What if they leave? What if I can't handle it? Your mind spins these stories like a late-night talk show host, and you sit there watching, believing every word. But here's the trick. Your brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and a vividly imagined one. That's why you sweat before a job interview like you're being hunted. Why your stomach knots when you think about starting something new. The mind creates the scenario, and the body reacts like it's real. Carl Jung nailed it when he said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." Fear often isn't about the situation. It's about what the situation mirrors back to us. Our insecurities, our unresolved wounds, the fragile parts of ourselves we don't want to look at. So how do you deal with this illusion? You don't argue with fear. You watch it. You observe it like a cloud drifting across the sky. You name it. Oh, hey, there's that thought again. The one where I'm a failure. Cute. You don't have to believe it. You just have to see it for what it is. Mental noise. Plato warned that we can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy is when men are afraid of the light. And what is fear if not a rejection of light? A rejection of possibility, of movement, of growth. Most of us aren't afraid of failing. We're afraid of succeeding and not knowing who we'll become next. Look, thoughts come and go. They're like radio static. You don't have to turn up the volume on every station. When a fear-based thought arrives, take a breath, then ask, is this real, or is this just my brain predicting a disaster that hasn't happened? If it's not real, don't treat it like it is. Don't give fear VIP access to your attention. And when fear says, stay small, play it safe, respond like a Stoic. You are not the truth, you are just a thought, and I decide what happens next. Because at the end of the day, you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. You are the one who gets to decide which thoughts build you and which ones break you. Fear may still knock, but you no longer have to open the door. Number 3, come back to the present. You ever catch yourself in the middle of a panic and realize nothing is actually happening right now? No one's yelling at you. Nothing's crashing down. You're just spiraling in your own head. That's what fear does. It drags you out of the moment and throws you into a future that doesn't exist yet, or a past you can't change. Fear loves time travel. It's rarely rooted in the present. It thrives on what-ifs and remember when you messed that up. It keeps you stuck in an emotional loop, reacting to situations that aren't even real. And the worst part? you believe it. You feel it in your body, your heart races, your breath shortens, your mind sprints like it's running from a tiger, but there's no tiger. Stoicism teaches us to anchor ourselves to the now. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Confine yourself to the present, not tomorrow, not 10 minutes from now, just now, because right now, you're okay, you're breathing, you're safe, you're capable." When you return to the present moment, fear loses its fuel. Why? Because fear is a projection. It needs the future or the past to survive. The present moment is too real, too grounded, too calm. In this moment, you're not failing. You're not being judged. You're not broken. You're just here. Try this. Next time fear grips you, pause. Don't fight it. Don't deny it. Just come back. Feel your feet on the ground. Take 3 slow breaths. Look around. Name what you see. Touch something textured. Hear a sound. This isn't woo-woo. This is neuroscience. Grounding yourself physically brings the emotional brain down from its panic and gives control back to your logical mind. Socrates once said that the unexamined life is not worth living. But here's the flip side. The over-examined moment is unlivable. If you're constantly analyzing every possible outcome, replaying old pain, or rehearsing every disaster, you're not living. You're surviving in a mental fog. You're being haunted by ghosts that only exist in your imagination. Carl Jung believed that anxiety is the fear of the chaos within. So we distract ourselves with thoughts of the future to avoid feeling what's happening now. But the irony is, the present is where peace lives. The more we avoid it, the further we drift from ourselves. This is why mindfulness isn't a luxury, it's a survival skill. Not just sitting in silence or lighting candles, it's learning to stay. Stay with the discomfort, stay with the breath, stay with the reality of now, even if it's messy or uncertain. Because here's the truth, life only happens in the present. Your fears, they live everywhere else. So come back, not once, not perfectly, but again and again. Choose now, that's where your power is. Number 4, everyone suffers, you're not broken. Let me ask you something. How often have you felt like you're the only one who's afraid? Like everyone else, somehow has it all figured out, and you're the one fumbling in the dark, hoping no one notices the fear in your voice or the tremble in your hands. That feeling, that isolation, is one of fear's dirtiest tricks. It convinces you that your struggle is a personal flaw, that you're weak for feeling anxious, that you're broken for not being able to just get over it. But let's call it what it really is. A lie. The Stoics never said life would be painless. In fact, they built their entire philosophy around the understanding that suffering is a universal human experience. They didn't see fear, pain, or grief as signs of failure. They saw them as part of the terrain. Epictetus was born a slave. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire during a plague. Seneca wrote letters about resilience while facing exile and personal loss. And yet none of them said, "This is unfair, I must be broken." They said, "This is life, so now what?" Aristotle believed that we acquire courage by acting as if we already have it. In other words, the presence of fear is not proof of weakness. It's the training ground of strength. It's the weight you lift to build resilience. Psychologist Carl Rogers once wrote that what is most personal is most universal. That ache you feel in your chest, millions feel it. That fear of not being enough, it's echoed across generations. You are not some outlier. You are human. And being human means you will hurt, you will doubt, and yes, you will fear. But none of that makes you unworthy. It makes you real. Think about it. If you were completely fearless, you'd be unfeeling. And if you were completely untouched by pain, you'd be disconnected from the rest of humanity. Fear connects us. Suffering connects us. It reminds us that we're alive, that we care, that we're trying. Stoicism doesn't ask you to pretend you're okay when you're not. It asks you to recognize that suffering doesn't diminish your value. It doesn't say, don't feel fear. It says, feel it and continue anyway. That's courage. That's strength. So the next time you're caught in self-doubt, wondering why you're still scared or why you're not there yet, remember this. You're not the only one feeling this, not even close, and that's good news, because it means you're not broken, you're not failing, you're just becoming. You are walking a path walked by countless others, some of them ancient philosophers, others just like you, trying to make it through the noise of modern life. And like them, you will find your way. Not by being fearless, but by realizing that fear is simply a part of your shared humanity. Number 5. Let go of control. Let's be honest. Most of us don't fear the unknown. We fear not being in charge of the outcome. We fear not having a grip on how it all plays out. That's what really keeps us up at night. It's not just that we don't know what's coming, it's that we can't control what's coming. That's why we overthink. Why we plan out conversations in our head days in advance. Why we check our phones obsessively or rehearse worst-case scenarios like they're some kind of twisted bedtime story. We're not preparing. We're grasping for control in a world that refuses to be controlled. And this is where fear thrives, in the illusion that we must manage everything. The Stoics saw through this. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. What he meant was simple but deeply freeing. The outside world will never obey you. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall through. The economy will crash. Loved ones will leave. Your body will age. These things are not within your grasp, and clinging to the idea that they should be, that's the root of unnecessary suffering. Control is seductive. It gives us the illusion of safety. But here's the truth. The more you try to control everything, the more anxious you become. Because deep down, you know it's a losing game. And every time life doesn't follow your script, fear rushes in to remind you how fragile that control really was. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing the line between what's yours and what isn't. That's the Stoic's razor, cutting away what's not within your domain and focusing your full effort on what is. You can't control how someone feels about you, but you can control how you show up in the conversation. You can't guarantee a job offer, but you can control the effort you put into preparing. You can't stop the rain, but you can carry an umbrella. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That's the core of letting go. It's not passivity, it's power redirected inward. It's saying, I may not control the storm, but I will control my response to it. This shift doesn't just reduce fear, it restores dignity. When you stop obsessing over external outcomes, you reclaim your energy. Instead of wasting your attention on things you wish you could change, you focus it like a laser on what you can change: your attitude, your actions, your mindset, your effort. And when you truly let go of control, something strange happens. You actually gain more influence. People trust calm. Opportunities come to those who aren't frantic. Creativity returns when your mind isn't locked in survival mode. Letting go of control doesn't make you weak. It makes you fluid, adaptable, dangerous in the best way. Socrates taught that wisdom begins in knowing what you do not know. Take that a step further. It's also knowing what you do not control. Fear can't touch you when you stop handing your peace over to things that were never yours to begin with. So next time fear whispers, "What if everything goes wrong?" Whisper back, then I'll meet it as I am, prepared, grounded, and free from the need to control it. Let go. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only way to stop drowning in the illusion of control and start walking with confidence through the chaos of life. Number 6. Be patient with yourself. You're probably tired of hearing, "Be patient." Growth takes time. It sounds nice on a coffee mug, but when you're knee-deep in self-doubt, anxiety, or fear, that advice feels hollow. Because let's be real, when you're trying to overcome fear, when you're putting yourself out there, making changes, doing the work, it's hard to not want results right now. You want the fear to go away. You want the confidence to show up. You want the healing to be done already. But here's the truth no one likes to sit with. Real change is slow. It's quiet, uneven, often invisible, and if you don't develop patience, you'll abandon yourself before the work starts to pay off. Fear thrives in urgency. It tells you you're behind, that you're running out of time, that you should have fixed this already. But that voice, it's not wise, it's not truthful, it's just noise. And patience is what helps you turn the volume down. The Stoics didn't expect perfection from themselves. They knew they were human, and being human meant stumbling. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't expect the impossible. Don't be angry when you slip. Start again." It wasn't about achieving flawlessness. It was about showing up again and again with humility. But we don't extend that same grace to ourselves. We judge every setback like it defines our entire journey. We make one mistake and say, "See, I'll never change." We feel fear and assume we're weak. But you're not weak, you're growing, and growth looks a lot like chaos when you're in the middle of it. Carl Jung understood this. He said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And isn't that what we're really afraid of? That we'll meet ourselves fully, flaws, fears, failures, and find something unworthy. That if we're patient, if we slow down, we'll have to face the parts we try to outrun. But that's where transformation begins. When you stop trying to force change and instead nurture it. When you stop sprinting toward a fixed image of who you think you should be and start accepting who you are now, with space to evolve. Aristotle taught that virtue is formed in habit, not overnight wins, not breakthroughs on command. Habit, repetition, small acts of courage, again and again, even when fear is still whispering, even when you still feel uncertain. That's how patience becomes power. Think of it like training a muscle. You wouldn't walk into a gym, lift a heavy weight once, and expect to walk out ripped. So why do we expect emotional strength to appear instantly? Why do we expect courage to stick after one tough conversation? You don't build resilience by avoiding fear. You build it by walking through it again and again with patience as your companion. And let's not confuse patience with passivity. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right things consistently, even when results are slow. It means trusting the process, even when it's frustrating. It means allowing yourself to be a work in progress, not as an excuse, but as a path forward. So the next time you feel like giving up or feel like your fear is winning, pause, breathe, remind yourself, this is not the end. This is a step. You're not failing. You're unfolding. Don't rush it. Don't shame yourself. Be steady, be kind, be patient, because the greatest breakthroughs often come right after the moment you were about to quit. And if you stay with yourself long enough, with patience in your back pocket, you'll become someone even fear can't argue with. Fear loses its power the moment you stop running from it and start listening to what it's trying to teach you. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're simply becoming. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal, this space where we walk through discomfort, not around it. If this resonated with you, There's another video waiting for you right here on the screen, hand-picked to take you one step further. And if you ever find yourself lost again, come back. This journal will still be here, waiting right where you left off. Stay steady, stay aware, until next time.